dating and relationship advice in 2026 is got to be taken with a grain of salt. Because with a lot of these guys that offer game courses or teach you this pickup game or teach you all this game stuff, is that they really haven't calculated into the equation how bad things have gotten. I mean, with social media, with the culture, with a society that has turned into complete and utter gynocentrism. So with guys like me, the things that we used to use in the 90s and the 80s, and even the vetting process that we used to use, many of those things do not apply in 2026, because you're not just dealing with skill and strategy or just being the best version of yourself as a man, or developing yourself, or creating an environment where you can not only take care of yourself as a man, but take care of a family. You're dealing with a tremendous amount of influence and distraction. And most of it is negative. Most of it is anti-man, man-hating misandry, this idea, this mentality of an environment that's all about what men need to be for women. Very few things is being taught to women how to take care of the man who takes care of them. Reciprocation, or the amount of energy they pour into the man based upon his masculine sacrifices and what he brings to the table as a man. So it's a complete one-sided equation. I want you to look into the eyes of the average relationship guy. And many often, if he tells you the truth, that guy is tired. He's got 1,000-yard stare in his eye. Sometimes, I'll tell you what, go to these parks and you'll see in the evening time or in the morning time, you'll see a guy sitting in his truck or his car or whatever, and he's looking into the river or looking into the ocean or looking into the forest or the trees, and he's got a 1,000-yard stare in his eye. That dude don't want to go home, because home is painful. It is painful, it's stressful, it's one-sided. He's pouring his life, his heart, his energy into this house, this woman, this whatever. And even with her, with reciprocation, his basic needs has become an extraction, or it's been neglected, or she doesn't even see his effort or his energy. And the problem with issue with relationships is somebody can teach you how to get a one-night stand or a temporary relationship, but all things are tested in the distance. It's the distance. What we see now, what's happening with the society, is the divorce, the great divorce is up, empty nest syndrome. Guys are getting divorced after 30 years, 20 years, 25, and I think social media is with that, friends. So you have a whole society and a culture that literally has erased all accountability for women, and even to the extent that serving a man is considered some type of oppressive, whatever, down with the evil patriarchy and these evil, horrid men. So you're dealing with individuals that have been raised to have a perspective on manhood, what men are. And you have somebody that's been raised most of the time to hate men or see serving men as a form of oppression. And even to the extent that marriage itself is the last stop on the sexual liberation railway. That means that the guy who's getting this woman is getting her after she's been vigorously and viciously pounded out by multiple men. And look, I'm not judging the women. I got nothing against them. My mentality is let these wild horses run free. I can talk about pre-owned all day long, but I love pre-owned. I just won't pay MSRP, or I won't commit MSRP, which is marriage and long-term relationship. It might do long-term relationship if there's some equal value being exchanged that I think is reciprocal enough that would maybe, change my way of thinking. The question, the fundamental thing is this. For me to start giving out or talking about dating and relationships again, or any, women have got to become better people. better people. It's no point in me teaching you or saying to some man or giving advice on something or it's like me in my mind giving advice on how to get hemorrhoids or some type of debilitating disease, or how do you get hemorrhoids. A Peaceful Life has given his advice on how to acquire hemorrhoids. You see a man that is on his purpose. He's working. He's making his money. He's got his finance together. He's given, he's got his money, his body. He's working out. He's happy. He's at peace. His home is a peaceful place. He goes home. He's got his house squared away the one he wants it. And somebody will say, well, what about advice on how to avoid hemorrhoids? But what is going to be a hemorrhoid for you? What you see in front of you today may not be that way 5 years from now, because we're talking about relationships now. This phone is in people's hands. You could be a man working, doing the right thing, did all the vetting process, vetted her family, everything else like that. And all of a sudden, some things go wrong, goes down in a relationship or whatever, or there's a moment of unhappiness, and she finds some social media guru that's telling her all about your inadequacies. I'm not saying women can avoid this. I mean, obviously, they're going to go back again. They're going to go, well, you should have picked her right. You should have picked her right. It doesn't matter. No matter what the circumstances, whether you picked her right, picked her wrong, it doesn't matter. That's why when they ask me about relationship, I say it's all my fault. I was the problem. I ruined the relationship. It's all on me. Because no matter what happened in that relationship, your ass is going to be held accountable. The dudes are going to roll you up underneath the bus. The society is going to have to roll you up under the bus. The women are going to roll you up underneath the bus. It's all your fault. Period. So ain't no picker. I mean, there's certain things you have to pick right with women and whatever else. But what you pick today may not be what you picked 5 years ago. That's why I have a problem with these anecdotal guys that come into this thing, because you might be winning today, but that don't mean you're going to be winning 3 years from now. All it takes is the distraction from some guru to come in her brain, or some woman, her friend zone changes, and somebody comes in there and one of these hyenas get into her head and start talking about, girl, you're getting a raw deal, or this man, don't be doing that for this man, and don't be doing that for the man. Granted, salute to the women, the unicorns out here that can block that out. But 9 times out of 10, you're fighting an uphill battle versus the culture, versus the society, versus the distractions. And you're talking about the distance. The distance is where you see a lot of these guys that even give the pickup game and tell game, and doing all this stuff. You don't know what's going on in their personal life. Because again, we have a situation in society where we have a lot of sad people with happy pictures. But they can teach you certain things, but the question is, can they maintain this stuff in the distance? If that guy is so great, why doesn't he go and involve the state in his life and get married? I mean, he'd be stupid to do that. And let's see him get into a long-term cohabitation, marriage relationship with a woman, and let it go the distance. You see, everybody can run the 100. Try to run the 1500 or whatever, half marathon or some shit. And you will see that's what relationships are in time. So you could get a woman to do certain things in the short term. Now it becomes a full-time job because of all the distractions of social media and all of the negative influences and all the cultural elements, and removing a society and a system that had checks and balance. Because remember, relationships at one point in time in our history used to be held in check by the woman and her values, the family structure, the laws, the government, the society, the religious institutions. All those things were factors. The whole relationship, those things are gone. The church right now, there's complete gynocratic environment of just basically Christian feminists and all that other stuff, and pastors that will do anything to get money, including pandering to women, because the conversation is always about what men's supposed to be doing and what men have to be doing. So you have a whole lopsided environment to support her, and 9 times out of 10, there's no support for you. That's why so many men suffer in the dark. You can't tell other men, some men, your problems, because many times men themselves you know, they're the hardest on other men, especially if you're in a group of cucks. You know, obviously the guy that's across from you, that's a part of the friend group of the married friend group, and you look at how hard he's simping and how hard he's cucking, you can't tell him anything, because to him, maybe he finally got that woman he couldn't get when he was 21, and even though she's ran through and heavily pounded, and he paid marriage MSRP for the village bicycle, to him, he feel like he's hit the lottery. You can't reason with that guy, or that guy's not on your side. That guy's like, how could you not, you know, be happy to get this once every quarter sex from this woman? She's in your life. She's everything. You know, it's like that Steve Harvey thing where he talks about, you know, what do women need to bring to the table? She's a whole woman. That's that old damn boomer simp mentality in their mind. These guys, you gotta understand, to them, having a woman in their life is the ultimate achievement for them. They see their value, and everything they do in their life is centered around a woman, having a woman. Everything they do. They wouldn't even take a bath if it wasn't for acquiring or getting a woman. So you can forget it with them. But giving advice in this strange environment, you know, and then you have to also do vetting for mental health. You don't know if a person is bipolar, a narcissist, mental health issues, you know, issues from her past. You know, it's a lot of work. And then the question is, what is the return on investment in the distance? Not today, not tomorrow, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And that same guy you gave that advice to, now he's in family court fighting for his children. Now he's in divorce court. I mean, marriages typically in America last about 7-8 years. Is he going to be in a situation where the turnover is high with that relationship, or in a situation where he's just there going through the process of emotion, just performing his legal and moral responsibility to the house, and literally he's just basically a servant for her and his family, and there's no reciprocation, there's no care. Everything he does is being taken for granted. He's a droid going through the process, waiting for the great divorce. Them kids are down. He's living for his kids. He's only taking care of him. He's given sex in such a disrespectful way. The woman don't even initiate anymore, because many times with, you know, and this is, again, salute to the 5% women. We talk about it. It's the law of diminishing returns. And it's not just even familiarity breeds contempt. But again, you just say, well, why don't you guys go ahead and try and renew everything and try and keep it fresh? Marriage is a full-time job. Relationships is a full-time job. But you notice that she doesn't have to do anything to renew your vigors in terms of going and work your 16-hour days and working and busting your ass every day and building things and creating things and building a family. It's about you, ass, need to be doing better. You need to be planning more trips. You need to be setting more adventure. You need to be doing more. And certainly that man gets to the point where he's just running on a treadmill of happiness. And at the end of that rainbow, what is he going to get? Access to the same or pre-owned. That's it. Maybe with less disrespect, a little bit. But as opposed to it being a natural process where a woman is pouring into a man the same way he's pouring into her, it becomes an extraction thing. This guy is working his ass off just to keep the harmony and the peace, and it becomes even, he has 2-3 jobs now in terms of a full, and her responsibility in terms of the relationship, in terms of to him, becomes something of just going through the motions. And everything that he did last week is gone. So it becomes a situation where guys don't understand. Over time is the thing. Today, tomorrow, 1 month, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, and whatever else, that ain't nothing. And what happens is a lot of guys are teaching and presenting short-term things that don't help you with long-term coexistence with a woman, or just dealing with the society itself, a completely anti-male society, a society that only sees male effort and take. And like I said, even the way marriage is designed nowadays, where the men that marry women get the worst deal, the worst version of them after they've been thoroughly used, and have come with a lot of problems financially, psychologically, mentally, and emotionally, all those things that he gets after that woman has been run through the ringers with so many different guys, or just society itself, and working every day and whatever else. He gets that at the end of the rainbow, and that's supposed to be a good deal for him. Because most of the times, especially for these women, they've found the guy they really want to be with before they're 30. They've found love. They've found the guy they want. What happens now is time is running out. The biological clock is going on. You got to go with security and safety in a man. But that man himself is getting that version of her that's been thoroughly used, and he's paying the most. The guy who gets the worst pays the most. That's a terrible system. And that's why we have so much failure out here. And that's what we're asking men to do. So giving people advice, or even having a conversation about that, inevitably, when I know what a raw deal the majority of this is, majority of men are getting, I would change my mindset, my mentality, if I saw viable return on investment for men. But all I see is torture. Waiting over the distance in time based upon the way the culture is going, the laws, the society itself. I don't see a positive outcome for men, especially when they get the state involved, based on how married men are being disrespected and mistreated in this culture. And I haven't seen any change in the mindset, the mentality of men. We're dealing with chronic cases of misandry, male hatred being raised into women. Especially if you marry into matriarchal culture, you know what I'm talking about, your ass is doomed, because they only see man from a position of being a servant or beneath the women. That's pure hyena mentality, mindset mentality. They treat the men like crap, like slaves. And you have the jellyback simps in that culture that are constantly pandering and simping, and they have one-sided conversation all about what men need to be better for women that don't measure up to a pimple on a bull's ass in terms of value that they offer men. And from a feminine perspective, like literally they have no job other than to exist and have a vagina that a man can have sex with. And that's really the mindset of a matriarchal male. If you look at them, they have all channels on Facebook. They have channels all over the way, pandering. Of course, Derek Jackson is a famous panderer. There's all kinds of dudes everywhere. And then there's guys who just pander because they hope that a piece of pre-owned will fall off the back of the used pre-owned truck, and they'll get to grab a hold of it. If I kiss enough ass, if I simp and pander enough, maybe one of these women will see my value. But it's never going to happen. They're just going to sleep with guys that talk like me. They might say they might call me a misogynist or hatred or whatever they call it, but they're going to go with guys because they know guys like me are telling the truth. And you're dealing with unicorns in 2026. That's just the way it is. That world that guys, the problem with guys is that guys are idealistic, and many times men are delusional. And sometimes men project onto women what they want them to be, as opposed to accepting them for what they are. A peaceful life accepts women for what they are. Trust me. That's why I understand women. That's why I enjoy them so much, because I understand their mindset and their mentality. If you have a chance and talk to women and listen, don't judge. When a woman is telling you about all the debauchery in her life and debauchery of other women, the last thing you want to do is try to correct or shame or disrespect. I let them open up. Women got to be comfortable. Let them be comfortable around you so they can talk. Reveal all of their secrets. Relieve all the debauchery. They'll tell you about the fact that they were in a relationship with one guy and sleeping with this guy, or sleeping with that guy, or this one was married and she's sleeping with the dude over there, and this and that. they'll open up the door to all the debauchery if you listen and don't judge. And you can kind of, discern a certain mentality and mindset about them. But a lot of guys have this idealistic view of how they want it. They picture they were raised and programmed, and it's not their fault. It's not only that. It's not only their biology. Their biology is driving them so deeply to want to have being proximity to access and have sex all the time, where they're willing to overlook so many things because they have this mindset, this mentality, and this idealistic view of women from maybe romance that's been sold to them, from love songs, from movies of the past, from everything else. This is 2026. You've got to adapt and adjust your mindset mentality. The culture doesn't support that. Women don't support that. It's just not, it's not the reality today. You're looking at a woman, or your vision or mindset of a woman that does no longer exist. You're living in a fantasy. And I've traveled outside of the West, traveled to the East, and I'll tell you, the social media also spread the virus. We've had so many years of feminism. We've had so many years of mindset shift. We have so many years of the older women preaching to the young women, telling them, not to serve men, or not just to extract, and how to take. We're raised a society of women that just know how to take. And who they going to take from? You. You become a beast of burden. So how, it's very difficult to give advice or say anything or even teach certain things. That's why I don't have any courses or whatever else, because at the end, I know it's going to happen. You're not going to get that return of investment based upon the current deal that's available for men for a long-term relationship. You're not going to get an ROI. You're just not. You're going to end up operating in deficit, and your life is going to be the equivalent of you trying to climb out of a deep well every day or every other day. If you're masculine and you still got self-esteem, you're going to be checking that woman every week, because you're going to have to be dealing with bullshit coming in the house from friends and, man-hating family members, simps, panda bears, weak dudes trying to, dudes that are, you're sitting around and you're eating, and you got dudes that are just completely, jellyback simps that you got to box out from coming and spreading that virus around your house. You got all kinds. It's a full-time job in 2026. And guys that are married in relationships, salute to you, brothers. I ain't got nothing against you. They know what I'm talking about. So that's the biggest issue in 2026 is, what is the return on investment? What is the return on investment? Even a guy that's single to me, it's not hard for me to be in relationships. Why would I do that? That's madness. Who would sign up for that bullshit? You might get a good year or two, or maybe nowadays 6 months, because even you're going 6 months or 3 months. But when you calculate what you have to give, and the loss of your autonomy, the loss of your freedom, and you're sitting laying in that bed, you say, man, I gave up all that freedom, the ability to control your money. You wake up, you're a single guy, man. You walk up, you grab your wallet. Your wallet be fat. Like me, it's just me. So you're like, you grab your wallet be like cash be busting out of your wallet, because you ain't spending that money on these women, and you just enjoying your life. And right now, I just hit the gym. I got so much damn freedom and autonomy. I can go buy anything I want to do right now. I don't have to consult with nobody. And I know, guys, look, let me tell you something, man. Loneliness ain't nothing but horniness turned upside down. I ain't never seen, ain't no well-serviced man sitting around here worried about, or a man that is really don't even care about being serviced, like sitting here worried about no relationships and whatever else. Oh, guys with experience know the deal. They can see, like a guy with good experience, right, can look at women, and they can predict just by the conversation, the way they look. Like that one right there. That's long-term C&B torture. That one right there looked good. And maybe even when, like, one time me and the brother was over the Wawa over there, And one of these, you know, community, you know, sexy bodies walked in, but her conversation, her mindset, and mentality. As soon as that brother looked at me, we look at each other, it looked good on the surface level. But that right there is an extreme case of post-nut trauma, post-nut depression. That's the time when you go down there and you pound that, and you, after you've done, and that all that, see, that's our hormone that betray us. You be laying in that bed looking at your meat, you want to backhand slap that meat. You be like, I can't believe you betrayed us like this. How could you do this to us? I'm telling you, you literally build up resentment for your own phallus. Like, how could you do this to us? We told you, no, that chick is crazy. She's crazy. She's batshit crazy, but she's sexy. And your hormones got the best of you. That's why discipline is more important than game. You need some discipline. Because now you done invited a crazy-ass demon into your life. And I don't know what's going to happen. These windshields in these cars can get broken. Somebody, don't. Whatever you do, hopefully you're smart enough she don't know where you live. And you can do block and run. Or whatever. But after you evaluate the total package of what you're getting, and even it don't even matter, have to be one of these individuals that you see with nice bodies and whatever else, because it's your hormones that betray you. It could be one of these other women that you're like, well, shoot, you say, well, she looks good, and well, how the hell is she looking like that? And nobody has snatched that up, because 9 times out of 10, that individual is insufferable. Torture. Like, for instance, a peaceful life knows. I spend a weekend with a woman, and I'm coming out that damn thing on a Sunday gasping for air. Like, hell no, I can't do this. No, I can't do it. No, I'm going back to my life, walking in the park and enjoying my time on the beach and hitting the gym and doing my little investments and business things. I can't take this shit. I can't do this shit every day. The hell no. I escaped the marriage penal colony, and I'm like an escaped convict. They won't take me back alive. Damn that, I'm not going to that shit. Where every day your happiness is affected by the attitudes, the mentality, and the behavior of a creature that runs on emotions and feelings. That's hard time. And I'm not doing any more hard time. F that. Damn that. I'll stay out here in the Serengeti. They can call me anything they want to call me. They call me an incel, a big bald-headed incel. You crazy. You look like Mr. Cooper. You're goofy. You can't get no box. I don't give a rat's ass what you call me. But what you will call me is free. That dude is free. And he doesn't deal with this irritation every day. That dude is free. That dude's walking around here. He's sitting in the car. He's free. When I go home to my house right now, there's nobody in there but me. Oh, whew. That there is good. Ain't nobody in there. It is beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm telling you. Let me tell you. You go home. Every man needs a sanctuary, and nothing more enjoyable than when you walk into a property or a place and there's only you in there, and you can live and exist. You decorated the way you want it. You set everything up. Everything that I set in place and organized, it's the same place. Nobody complains to me about nothing. Nobody's in my ear. Well, there's women that be in my ear lecturing me, especially them. Oh, you saying that on your channel again? Bring your ass over here. They still be like tell me to bring my ass over there. You said that on your channel. You're just jacked up. All right, maybe I am. But one thing I ain't is tied down to any one of your asses. I am free. So at the end of the day, that freedom and that autonomy, men take that for granted. They take it for granted. They really do. You have no idea. Freedom is just wasted on dudes that have no life experience. And when that shit is gone, oh, you feel it. You feel it in the wallet first. You feel it in the wallet, then you feel it emotionally and shit. You know, especially when that pre-owned or that box that you were getting in the beginning in the honeymoon phase become more expensive as you go on with the relationship, the law of diminishing return, and you're doing everything possible, and you're getting like, you know, mediocrity, and it gets worse, and you're dealing with all kind of emotional problems and issues and other problems, and your bills is doubled. And you're like sitting there saying, what the hell? I just took a massive L. I was doing better as a single guy. And now I'm like, damn, I'm paying for all this shit. And what am I getting? Aggravation and irritation. And disrespectful delivery of pre-owned. Yeah, well, anyhow, you guys can keep that. Look, guys, I don't want to even say that. I don't want, because there's guys that have good relationships and, you know, maybe they're a small 5% anecdotal guy, but at the end of the day, I just don't see any ROI. Maybe if I look deeper, I just don't see it, man. The majority of guys in relationships are suffering. I wish I could say, you know, and again, I have a lot of experience, and I don't know everybody's individual situation, but if guys were winning, then I'd be able to say certain things. You know, I'd be putting, you know, videos on my channel about vetting women and relationships and all this other stuff. But all these guys are taking L's in the distance. So anyway, that being said, peace and blessings to you guys. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Make sure you hit the like button. It's time for me to go enjoy the rest of my day. Holy crap, the market's about to be open, so I gotta go try to make some more money. All right, peace, I'm out.